number 20.
You did say he was number 20. I didn't think he was number 20, though. So.
And Michigan's had quarterbacks with weird-ass numbers. Devin Gardner was 98.
I guess. They just... but that was just like... That was weird. Why did he just start wearing that number all of a sudden?
It's like an honors one of his high school teammates who died.
Oh, so that's why they let him... Because there's no other reason to be wearing... No quarterback. Even... I feel like most quarterbacks in the Big Ten don't even wear quarterback numbers.
No. I don't know. Denard was number 16. I think that's even kind of weird for a quarterback.
That's okay.
You guys are getting a little carried away. Why don't we talk about why we're here? The NFC South.
Thanks for listening to Third Down Punt again.
Yeah, thank you.
Our 4th episode.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to be our best. We're
only getting better.
The
1
NFC.
month in. Yeah.
We
basically are through our rookie year, entering our sophomore season.
Yeah. We might be going to the sophomore slump, but who knows?
There's a few teams in here that I really like.
This is
Falcons.
one of my favorite fantasy divisions by far and away. I love this division, so it's going to be fun to talk about.
Yeah, I like the Saints. I'm a little iffy when it gets to the Panthers and the Buccaneers.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, why don't we start with the Falcons? Anybody you guys like on this team?
I really like the Falcons actually as a team for this year to do better than they did last year. I like Calvin Ridley as a breakout candidate. I mean, I don't know how high his ceiling is with Julio there, but he seems like a guy that's going to be looking for over 1,000 yards pretty much easily because of how that offense is going to be run.
Interesting.
You don't think so?
I don't.
Okay.
I mean,
That's interesting.
He had the same number of targets. Or he had actually a few less targets than Hooper last year in 13 games. But
but there's a ton of open targets now.
Yeah, they did bring in Todd Gurley, who is a good receiving back. So he's going to take some of Freeman's targets, who had 70 last year. I wouldn't be surprised if he took all of them, honestly. And I think they're going to try using Hayden Hurst the same way they use Austin Hooper.
Whoa.
And Matt Ryan naturally spreads the ball around.
We can't just say that Hayden Hurst is anywhere near
No,
awesome.
I'm not saying that. He was a first-round pick.
Still, though.
He's a good all-around tight end.
He's a good all-around tight end. And they gave up, a third-round pick for him?
What?
They gave up decent draft capital for him.
Listen, I'm not saying he is a replacement for Austin Hooper. He's not as good.
I didn't say that. I said they were going to try using him the way they use Austin Hooper. He's not as athletic as Hooper.
No, they are. Somebody I really like in this offense is Russell Gage.
That is actually another reason why I don't think Calvin Ridley is going to break out and have over 1,000 yards. Listen to Russell Gage's target shares.
Okay.
After they traded Sanu. They traded Sanu week 7. His targets went 9, 5, 4, 10, 9, 4, 6, 6, 13.
Hey, do you want to know something?
Wasn't Calvin Ridley hurt for some of that part?
Only 3 games. But so was Austin Hooper. But
okay.
Of Gage's 49 catches, 45 came after the Sanu trade.
I think it's still all about Julio, obviously, on this team.
Obviously, yeah. He's the best wide receiver in the game.
I think
but we have seen this team produce 3 wide receivers before.
He's a good buy in Dynasty, I think. He's got probably 2, maybe 3, maybe even more elite years.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody, even if you're rebuilding, should be looking at competing in the next 3 years. So obviously a rebuilding team, I wouldn't target Julio, but I think he fits a lot more teams' windows than people are willing to give credit. People seem to want to maybe be dropping him like a hot potato.
I could totally see Julio aging his game like Larry Fitzgerald did. Because they have similar games like in their primes, like super overpowering physically. But I could totally see him like becoming like a big slot like Larry Fitzgerald and aging that way and having even like prolong his career even more.
Vegas
that's
has
beautiful to think of.
Listen, Vegas has the Falcons at over under 7.5 wins.
That's
what do we
just
think?
a little bit better than they were last year.
I don't know. I could see it. That's tough. I could see him going 8-8 or 9-7.
I
think their
like
offense
it.
got better.
I'll buy on that because they didn't take any receivers this year, so they trust their receiving core.
Yeah.
Their receiving core is only going to get better. I'll take it. I like their draft this year as well.
How do you guys feel about Todd Gurley? Because Freeman had 240 touches last year. Now like their backups aren't good. Brian Hill, Ito Smith, and Quadri Allison.
You don't like Ito Smith?
I don't like Ito Smith.
I like Gurley. I think he's going
I like
about where
Ito.
he should in redraft. I feel like most people are taking him around the 2nd round.
Yeah.
Dynasty, tough. I don't know that I would touch him. A competing team I could see giving a late first for him, but I don't
Yeah.
know that I would invest much more than that.
I could still. I mean, he was wide receiver or running back 14 last year. I could see him being around there again this year, especially
maybe
240
even
touches.
a little bit better. Running
Yeah.
back 12 somewhere.
Super touchdown dependent last year, though.
Yeah. Would you guys
He kinda
buy him
always
for
has
an
been.
early
Yeah, that's
second?
true. An
Probably.
early second, if I was a competing team, without a doubt.
Probably, yeah.
That's about what I traded him for, an early and a mid second.
I don't think I could get that, or I don't think I could get him for that in our league. So probably.
No, I don't think. he
Listen,
could.
I've got the Falcons at way over 7.5. I think they've got a chance to compete for and win this division.
They always do.
Around 10 to 11 wins, possibly. Listen to how their season starts. Seahawks, okay, maybe that's a loss. Then the Bears, then the Panthers, then the Lions, then the Broncos, Raiders, Chargers. All of those games are the Falcons are looking at thinking they can win those games.
Yeah, 50-50.
Yeah.
There's a good chance that they could start the season 5-2 or 6-1 even.
Yeah.
That's hopeful.
And that is hopeful, but given that schedule, it does not seem like that challenging of a schedule. And their schedule in the second half of the year is a little bit harder, but if they can figure out a way to just win 3 games, that's over that 7.5 easily.
Yeah.
I agree. I like the Falcons.
I like Matt Ryan, honestly. He's always a solid. You know what you're getting
Yeah,
with
he's
him.
a super underappreciated quarterback. Before we move on, listen to this stat about Russell Gage. He had the 10th highest hog rate in the NFL, which is targets per snap, at 16%. So 16% of his snaps at wide receiver resulted in a target last year.
Do you personally know Russell Gage or something?
I feel like
Come
Listen,
on,
should,
I
man. I'm
love
his-
This
Russell Gage.
podcast
You
is
know-
not about Russell Gage.
You
He's
know
not a
Russell
sleeper.
Gage
No, he's not.
Yes, he
started
is.
like
He's
only
gonna-
his
he's not gonna
senior
do
year
anything.
at LSU after basically grinding all 3 years.
Yeah, he was not going
He
to
got
college.
drafted as a special teamer in the 6th round
Cool.
for the
Now
Falcons.
that I want to invest into my dynasty roster.
Yeah,
could be
and
like the
now in
Julian
his
Edelman
third
type
He's
guy.
year,
going to overtake
he's
the
about
first
to have
round
1,000
draft pick.
yards.
That's Calvin Ridley, right?
No, he's not going to overtake him.
I mean, that
Oh,
stuff's
okay.
happened before.
No,
But he
Calvin
could-
Ridley's
I think-
1,000 yards. He's
That literally
I think
happened
he's
with
gonna step
Stephon
into
Diggs and
Sanu's
Laquan
role.
Treadwell.
well, Stephon Diggs is better.
Hey, Laquan Treadwell's on that offense too. I wish him well.
That's true. He is.
I
thought he
want to
was gonna be
talk
really
about
good.
the Saints next. Are you guys going?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
let's
good
do
on
that.
the Saints here.
I'm not buying Michael Thomas.
Ooh.
Listen, he's first of all not the receiver that I love, type of receiver that I love, but moreover, his price is stupid high for, I think, kind of being really good at doing. It sounds like the popular opinion to say now because of how he runs his routes and the game that he plays. He's obviously incredible at it, and it's impossible to stop. I don't take anything away from it, but I don't know. It just seems like a small product of how Drew Brees plays football. And obviously Teddy Bridgewater was the perfect fill-in. That was only a couple weeks. Everybody says yada, yada, yada. It doesn't seem as sustainable to me
Teddy
as other wide
Bridgewater.
receivers.
That's a good
So I've
shout-out.
got him maybe around wide receiver 5 in Dynasty, wide receiver 4, 5. He's still amazing, but I'm not buying him at he's obviously going to be costing wide receiver 1 prices.
Yeah.
No way am I buying him at that. I'm selling him at wide receiver 1 prices.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of sum it up to like how Randy Moss was in 2007 when he had 23 touchdowns. Like, people are going to want Michael Thomas to be as good as last year when it's almost impossible for him to replicate what he did last year.
Yeah, last year, firstly, was absolutely insane. He almost had
Ridiculous.
2,000 yards. I mean, this
He had
guy was out of
140,
his mind.
153 catches last year?
Yeah, 149 catches.
149 catches.
Which has got to be close to some record, I
It is the
assume.
record.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, it is.
By like
So,
6 catches.
That's why he's literally a PPR. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a god. Jerry Rice's best, seasons, he was only getting like 100 receptions.
Jerry
120.
Rice is better
yeah.
than Michael Thomas.
Yeah, come
Let's
on.
not
Let's
compare
But
the
I'm
two.
just saying that he's
Hey.
getting 30 more catches.
Ultimate
That's-
possession receiver.
You know what I don't
That
love that you
equals
did, Drew? I
so
don't
many
like
more
that you compared
points.
Michael Thomas to Randy Moss.
I'm just comparing their seasons.
Yeah, I know. Randy Moss is the type of receiver that I love, and Michael Thomas is not. I like the big play, more explosive wide receiver. Michael Thomas had a really poor average depth of target last year.
Yeah.
He was so far below
Yeah.
any of the top 30 wide receivers. Like with Cooper Kupp, you would have to find to be even close to him. So I don't know.
No, I
It's
agree
not.
with you.
I'm not. I don't hate him, but if you could downgrade at Michael Thomas for another top 10 wide receiver and stack on top of it, I'll do that for sure.
I agree. Do you know who I am buying on this offense? Elvin Kamara. Even
okay.
at his high price. Because last year, He's still had a pretty decent year yard-wise and touch-wise. He's had 81 catches every year of his career, but he only had 6 touchdowns last year. In 2018, he had 18. So I definitely expect some positive regression touchdown-wise. And I think, he was still PPR running back number 9 last year, even with only 6 touchdowns.
Are you worried about Latavius coming in at all?
No.
I think he actually is better with Latavius.
I agree. I think you should be worried a little bit about Latavius, but in a good way. I don't love the people that expect their running backs to be Saquon's, Ezekiel Elliott's, Christian McCaffrey's. There's only 3 or 4 of those in the league. I think
Derrick Henry.
The new running back is the running back that takes 15 to 17 carries and maybe 8 targets.
Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara.
But
Kamara, though, was also Mark Ingram's better than Latavius Murray. And he had better seasons with Mark Ingram than he did with
But
Latavius.
Latavius Murray's good.
He is good.
He's a good one, too.
He's a good.
Yeah.
Good for 10
He's going to be good at that.
You want to know who I'm
offense
buying
for
on the
sure.
Saints offense?
Tell me.
Emmanuel Sanders.
Manny
He
Sanders.
needs to be on all dynasty rosters if you're competing this year. Listen, I'm looking at Fantasy Pros right now, just a popular site when you Google Dynasty wide receiver ADP. They have them at number, ready for this, 69. Nice. Wide receiver 69.
Nice.
Along the looks of Brashad Perriman, D.D. Westbrook, Alan Lazard. I get it. Some of these players have higher upside, but Emmanuel Sanders, listen to his past 5 years, starting from last year, working our way back. This is his PPR finishes. Wide receiver 30, wide receiver 23, wide receiver 60. He was hurt for half the season, only played in 11 games. Wide receiver 20, wide receiver 19, wide receiver 5. So drop is high and drop is low. He's finishing consistently around mid-20s.
Yeah.
You're getting him at wide receiver. He's a lock
Hey,
in this
and
offense,
he looks
too.
good.
In this offense, too. Come on, let's be real. They are going to be focused on Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, and Emmanuel Sanders is almost going to be an afterthought. And he's a great player.
He's
to
almost
have
like
to
a
be
lock to get 1,000 yards for
to
me.
be a
I think he'll get more like 800.
player
But
that you forget about.
I'm just really surprised he was able to come back from his torn Achilles the way he has.
So fast.
Oh, dude.
It's crazy.
That was remarkable.
And he had that one toe tap touchdown in the back of the end zone, and I was like, your Achilles is fine.
Yeah, that's like a career-ending injury for some people, and he came back at
for
age
most people.
32 or something
That ruined
in 9
Chauncey Billups'
months,
career.
and then played full season healthy.
Yeah.
Didn't get hurt. Incredible. Paid a late second for him, 2
I
or 3
do
years
want
ago.
to say
Yeah,
I
right.
think Alvin Kamara is going to benefit from having a solid running back too. I think I don't know if he can handle the full load. Am I saying that?
I agree.
Yeah.
I think the thing that makes Kamara so good is that he's not an amazing rusher, but he's has really good balance, which makes him so good on short screens. Because if you put him on one with a linebacker, his balance and his quickness is so good, he's gonna beat him every single time.
He kind of reminds me of Jamal Charles in a way.
Saints.
Maybe not as explosive.
Over under 10 wins. That's what Vegas has him at.
Over under 10 wins.
10 wins. They put it right at 10. I'll start it under.
I'll go over. Drew Brees is such a monster.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go over too. Their defense is really good as well.
It might be right at 10, honestly.
Yeah,
Might be
that's what I was
might be
thinking too. I think I can see them going 10-6, but I'll say they're going 11-5. Just to disagree with you because
That's
I
tough.
hate you.
11-5, I don't think so. I think they're much closer to 8-8, 9-7.
You guys want to talk about the Panthers here or the Bucks?
Let's talk about the Panthers.
I love me some Panthers.
Mm-mm.
These are my 2 favorite teams to talk about in this division, so I'm glad we saved them for last.
This is where
Oh, we
it
saw the
gets
Bucks.
muddy.
I got a
in
few
my
players to talk
opinion.
about on the Panthers, so I'll get my favorite one out of the way here real quick, okay? DJ Moore. He is the buy. I have him very, very high on my wide receiver rankings. And listen, he had 87 catches for 1,200 yards last season with only 4 touchdowns. That 4 touchdowns turns into 7 or 8 or 9 touchdowns. That's top 7, top 5 wide receiver at age 23, I think, with Kyle Allen throwing him the football.
Bad.
That is amazing. Now, obviously, touchdowns are hard to predict. DJ Moore has not had a lot of touchdowns in his career, so that is something to, I guess, maybe be weary of. He's maybe doesn't have the knack of getting into the end zone, but
They're just Julio though.
he's just a stud. You can see in everything he does and how he runs his routes, the way he catches the football, the way he breaks free. He's got huge playability. He is my definite buy in this division.
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, I said I'm not a big DJ Moore fan. but after watching more tape, he reminds me so much of like young Odell when he was coming into the league on the Giants.
Oh man, he is
The way he
terrific.
runs, like he's not big. He's like 6', 205. The way he's able to just go up in traffic and catch passes.
He reminds me of
is really
Steve
good.
Smith, and I
Yeah,
had
that's
that.
another good comparison.
That's what I thought he looked like before he was even drafted to the Panthers. When I was watching him, and he got drafted to the Panthers, that was dope.
I don't know. I feel like I didn't like him.
He's a monster.
I like the Panthers. I always find a reason to like the Panthers. There's always players I like to root for on them. I like Steve Smith. I liked Cam Newton.
Is there
I like
anybody
Christian
else on the
McCaffrey.
Panthers worth mentioning?
Yeah, Curtis Samuel.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're going Curtis Samuel again before Christian McCaffrey.
Curtis Samuel had. Do you know how many players last year who had a worse, had more uncatchable passes than Curtis
many
Samuel? Only
players?
7, but none of them had the amount of targets that they had. It was guys like Marquez Valdes-Scantling and like number 3, number 4 wide receivers like that.
Yeah.
He had over 100 targets last year. 42% of them were uncatchable, and he still was able to pull up 55 catches, 60 catches for 750 yards.
42% of his.
42% of his targets last year were deemed uncatchable. He
How
still had
mad
over
would you
700
be if you were
yards.
him?
There's a compilation on Twitter of Kyle Allen just missing wide open Curtis Samuel on vertical routes. Like I mean like 4 or 5 yards of separation, nobody
Yeah.
by him, and him getting underthrown or overthrown.
Dude,
I hate
Curtis
to be-
Samuel's separation in terms of like the elite wide receivers is right there. He averages like 2.6. That's the same as Amari Odell.
He's a really good route runner.
Sammy Watkins.
And
Hey,
he's
to be
so
fair-
explosive.
Those players that you're naming aren't. Curtis Samuel is playing the more wide receiver 2 than some of those
Yeah.
players.
That's
that you
true.
named
That's true. Yeah.
With less attention. But I do think that he is a good buy. I think that his price might be suppressed a little bit because of the Robbie Anderson signing and Teddy Bridgewater in town. I don't know that he's going to have a great year, but I think he's a pretty decent investment.
I love Curtis Samuel. He's actually listed as our starting slot receiver with Robbie Anderson on the outside, which I think matches his skill set better because he's really explosive with the ball in his. He runs like a running back with the ball in his hands, and he kind of played that way in college as well. It's funny you bring up Robbie Anderson because I think he is not going to have a good year, and I think he's going to be highly overpaid for what I think they paid $11 million for.
I
him.
agree. Something like 700 yards is probably what he's
I have
gonna
no
be
problem
looking
with that.
at.
He's a field stretcher with Teddy Bridge throwing the ball.
You could say the same thing about Curtis Samuel, though.
You don't like Teddy
Yeah, but
Bridge
Curtis
airing it
Samuel-
out?
Curtis
he-
Samuel's a better route runner. He's better.
He is,
yeah.
and they moved him to the slot. He's listed as a starting slot on their depth chart, and
But
he's
who
better with the
knows?
ball in his hands.
Well, let's talk about the actual offense for Carolina. Christian McCaffrey.
He's pretty good.
He's
Um,
decent, yeah.
I think he's a good sell.
Ooh.
I know. Say it. I got
This
him on
is
my
crazy
roster.
because he
And I wouldn't
owns
sell
it.
him for anything in the whole world. But that's because I'm competing and I've got a good roster. And if that's the case, Christian McCaffrey's the best player you could possibly have on your
Yeah.
team for the next 2, maybe 3 years. If that's your win now window, there's no player like Christian McCaffrey. But if you're
Maybe
not,
Saquon, but yeah.
yeah, maybe Saquon, true.
Mhm,
If you're
definitely.
not in those top maybe 3 or 4 teams in your league without Christian McCaffrey, say you take Christian McCaffrey off your roster and evaluate your roster. If it's not one of the top maybe 4, 5 teams and Christian McCaffrey's just kind of keeping you afloat, it might be time to sell Christian McCaffrey because he's still he's at the most valuable he's ever going to be, back-to-back RB1 seasons, and he's young. He incurs one injury or one bad season or one just not even bad season. Maybe he's RB6 next year, or RB5. That's still a great season, but his value is going to go down pretty much from here on out. If
I
you can
agree.
incur that risk,
You got to test the
and your
market
window
for
is
the,
3
for
years,
the price right now.
then take him. And he's going to be the best player probably for the next 3 years, maybe in the league. But if he's just holding you afloat as a borderline playoff team, see what you can get for him. It might be able to roll your whole team a new kind
It's
of.
crazy that how much of the snaps he plays. He just I don't
Never
know,
comes out.
He doesn't get hurt either.
No, it's
crazy.
absolutely
What
insane.
does he do? He just tells himself, "I'm not tired." Like I don't know.
We need
He's
to
just a
take his. We need
monster.
to clone his ACLs and just like start injecting every baby that's ever born with those ACL stem cells.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about the Buccaneers.
Oh wait, hang on.
Bucks.
Panthers over under 5.5 wins.
5.5. Oof. Can't take
gosh.
the over for everybody.
No, I feel like they're gonna get 5 wins, so I'm gonna take the under.
Yeah, I'll take the under too.
I'm gonna take
I
the
just
over
don't
on this.
believe
I
in
think they're
Teddy
gonna get
that
6
much.
wins. I think Teddy
Yeah.
Bridgewater's gonna push them to 6-10 type team. I don't know if
Lost
5-11
Kuechly.
is a bad team. They did lose Kuechly, true.
They have a strong division.
5-11 is
They
a
do have a strong division.
bad team in the NFL. I think they're maybe closer to a
Yeah.
500 team.
I,
than
I
a
think they're
terrible
without doubt
team.
the worst team in this division.
Probably, yeah.
And playing against them 6
Vegas
times.
thinks by a mile. All right, let's talk about little baby sweetheart Tim Brady and the Buccaneers offense. Crazy offseason they've had. Who would have thought this time last year we'd be talking about anything even remotely like this?
It's crazy. Do you guys think Tom Brady's a QB1 this year?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like top 12.
Top 12.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's what I assume.
I have him
12
like 10.
league is-
He was
probably.
He was 12 last year and 14 2 years ago.
Yeah, and look at his wide receivers compared to.
Yeah, I agree, but his arm's also getting worse.
Is it?
Look at.
Yes, it is.
Are we gonna talk
Yes.
about his quarterback rating? I like that.
What is it?
I like that stat, dude. Teddy Bridgewater had a better one.
Interesting.
Pretty much everybody that you could think of had a better quarterback rating.
Name Tom Brady's best wide receiver that he's had in the past 3 years.
Josh Gordon.
Julian
Edelman.
Josh
Great.
Gordon
You
did
see
have
how
1,000
ripped he
yards with
looked?
them.
And Tom Brady made Julian Edelman also look terrific. Let's not lie.
He
Okay.
also
Wes
had Brandon
Who
Welker.
else?
Cooks.
Who else?
He had Brandon Cooks.
Okay. Brandon Cooks. Didn't they go to the Super Bowl the year they had Brandon Cooks?
Yes.
And he had like 1,000 yards. Cool. Yeah. So Brady is good with good receivers, is what you're saying. Okay. Cool. And now he's got two of the best wide receivers in the NFL. One top
Probably
3,
in
4
the best
receiver,
wide
and
receiver
one
duo
top
for sure.
8 receiver.
Yeah.
So he's going to be good. The Buccaneers are going to be, I think, pretty good as a team. I don't know
Would you
about
rather have Jameis as a quarterback for fantasy or Brady?
plugged into the same offense.
Yeah. Like
James.
quarterback wise, or the assets that they're passing to.
Yeah.
So that it's weird because obviously the offense is going to look way different than it looked last year. Last year was just the welcome to the gun show. This year, it's the offense is going to look much different. In my opinion, I'd rather have last year's Jameis Winston.
Hey, we missed our
throw it
chance to
up.
talk about Jameis on the Saints. He was the afterthought for a reason.
He's the backup quarterback.
Yeah. Tom
I
Brady.
agree, but
Tom
I mean,
Brady's rolling in.
But he is.
I'll take Tom.
Gunslingers are perfect for fantasy, though.
I'll take Tom Brady.
I don't know. Tom Brady's
Tom
not the
Brady
gunslinger he
had
used to
The
be.
buy
A
on this.
1,000
Hey,
less
listen.
yards
The
than
buy.
Jameis
There's
last
2
year.
buys. I'll tell you, and these are maybe the 2 best buys in this division. Mike Evans is the first one, and Rojo, Ronald Jones.
I
is the
do
second
agree with
one.
Ronald Jones, actually.
Listen to why Mike Evans is the buy. He is so consistently among
He's
the best wide receivers.
Guaranteed over 1,000 yards every year.
You can't say guaranteed, obviously, because nobody's guaranteed. But as guaranteed as anybody
Yeah.
in the NFL is he's going to be a top 7 wide receiver. And I feel like there's fantasy sites that are rating him at like wide receiver 10, like somewhere around there, 9, 8, 11, somewhere in that range. And I just think that he's underappreciated a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's young still. You're looking at a prime of the next 4 to 5 years. He's like
Yeah,
26.
I don't think his game's going to age very well, though.
I mean, he's got.
I didn't know he's only 26.
Yeah, he's only 26.
Yeah. He
That's
was
crazy.
just drafted like a year or 2 ago.
Yeah.
Mike
Same with
Evans?
same year as Calvin Ridley.
Mike
no,
Evans?
not Mike Evans.
What are you
Sorry.
talking about?
Who are you talking? Are you
Wait,
talking
I
about
thought
Chris
we were
Godwin?
talking about Ronald Jones.
No, Mike Evans, dog.
Let me just
Oh,
space out for this whole time. We can talk about Ronald Jones because he's my favorite buy of this entire
I agree with you.
thing. And Drew, I think you should talk about Ronald Jones.
So last year, they had Peyton Barber. He had 154 carries, including 22 red zone carries, and 8 carries within the 5-yard line that result in 5 touchdowns. He's obviously gone. I forgot what team he's even on now. I think he's on the Bears.
Might be on the Redskins.
Oh, I think he's on the Redskins, actually. They
Who,
did
Peyton
just...
Barber?
Yeah.
Who cares?
No, I'm just saying. He had 154 carries last year. I
Who
feel like they're...
cares where he's at now?
They did draft Keyshawn Vaughn in the 3rd round. Do you know who the last 3rd-round running back was that Bruce Arians drafted? It was David Johnson. And even though David Johnson was clearly the most talented back in this team, he didn't even get he barely got any touches his rookie year. And instead, he went with Andre Ellington and Chris Johnson as veteran running backs who know what they're doing in a veteran offense.
I like
so I
it.
think the
Second
Keyshawn
year in his
Vaughn,
offense.
Yep, I think the Keyshawn Vaughn hype is a little over. I did kind of like his college tape. I think he's more athletic than people give him credit for. I feel like people think he's just like a plotter, but he did a lot on a bad Vanderbilt team. But I think Ronald Jones improved a lot his sophomore year compared to his rookie year. And I think the veteran presence and the veteran offense, Bruce Arians is going to lean to him more, and he's going to get a lot of touches.
Yeah, this is definitely Ronald Jones' year. I mean, Keyshawn Vaughn could obviously have a role, but it's definitely not this year. At least I don't see it.
Yeah.
Ronald Jones quietly had a pretty good season last year,
Yeah.
too. He was RB25, had just over 1,000 total yards. Not great, but solid.
He had almost 5 yards to carry, too.
And I think he's got a lot of opportunity in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy Pros in redraft has him at RB31.
Hmm.
That is some phenomenal value. If
It
you
really
can get him
is.
even close to that, he's got, not saying he's going to be there, he's got top 12 upside. If the Buccaneers offense is firing and he gets 10 touchdowns or something,
Yeah,
and maybe
could
has
happen.
Close to
1,100
1,000 yards, yeah.
1,200 total yards. He had 1,000 last year, remember?
Mhm.
That's barely increasing his total.
Yeah.
You know Tom Brady likes his little dump downs. Ronald Jones is probably going to benefit from that if you
Yeah,
play PPR.
I could see him fill in some of that Brady dump-off role, which always translates into a solid, if anything, running back 3.
Do you know who could play the James White role this year? Dare Ogunbowale.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
He was their third down back last year, and he's a really good pass catcher, and he kind of has like the same profile as James White. That's a really deep sleeper, and I don't know if he's going to be good. But
I like it. Pronounce that name again?
Dare Ogunbowale.
One more time.
Dare Ogunbowale.
There we
I
go.
said it different every time, I feel
That's
like.
nice.
Sounded good to me.
How do you guys feel about rookie Tyler Johnson?
I liked him before he fell so far in the NFL draft. He was like my Hakeem Butler of last year. I loved
Did
Hakeem
love
Butler
Hakeem
coming
Butler.
in last year. Fell and was trash, and now he's frustrating sitting on my roster. Tyler Johnson, I feel similar, but I like him a little less because his senior year I didn't even love him. He seemed to have like a slightly underperforming year.
He seems like somebody who's not athletic but just knows how to play football.
Yeah, I'd take him. If I had the roster space, I'd throw him in, but I wouldn't trade
Yeah,
for
I mean,
him.
if Chris Godwin gets hurt, I feel like that slot spot is Tyler Johnson's, and he would excel in it. And he'd be a sneaky buy if that happened, especially in redraft. 'cause
All right,
he's probably
you heard
one
it
of
there
the
first.
I don't see it.
Darren
I don't see it.
Agunabragle.
Dare
Dare Agunabragle.
Ogunbowale.
What? Anybody else out there, Drew?
Gronk.
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 Do you guys think he's
almost
gonna have a
mentioned
good
the
year?
greatest tight
Don't they
end
have
ever.
Cameron Braid too?
They do have Cameron. They signed him to like
Maybe
a 7-year
Cameron
deal.
Brate is the buy. Over under Buccaneers 9.5 wins. That's what Vegas has him at.
9.5.
Yeah.
They're going 16-0, I think.
I have
Dario
him right
Ogunbowale.
at around 9 wins.
No,
I
I think they're gonna get 10 wins.
Yeah, me
Tom-
too. I got
Tom-
him
Tom
over.
Brady's gonna carry him,
Let
dude.
me
Come on.
think about the offense.
They
Tom
also
Brady throwing it to Mike Evans,
Yeah.
interception.
they're also the
Godwin.
first team in history that had a #1 rush defense and number 32 pass defense. Last
Wow.
year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So they did
That's
draft Antoine
ridiculous.
Winfield though. To
That's the
help.
stat that I needed today.
Hey.
Isn't that wild?
Hey, in sleeper IDP leagues, grab
Antoine
Winfield
Winfield,
Jr.,
He's next
yeah.
Earl Thomas. I'm telling you
without
guys.
a doubt. They took him
He's really good in coverage
What?
in the second round. I think he's like
second
around
round,
the 40th
one of the
pick.
first or second safeties. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
I think he was the first safety off the board.
Can I just say my bold call on this division?
Yeah, what is that?
This is bold. I think the Falcons are going to win this division.
That is bold. You want to hear my
They're my
bold
favorite
call?
team in this division.
Barely edge out the Bucks. I think they're going to push for 10, 11 wins, and same with the Bucks. Saints are going to fall around 8, 9 wins. I think the Panthers are going to be like 5,
Saints
6
are-
wins.
Saints are
Laquan
good, man.
Treadwell takes
I do
over
think
for
so.
Julio Jones and becomes the wide receiver 1 that he was drafted to be and ends the season with 1,500 yards.
Do you know who the deep sleepers in this division? He plays for the Saints. His name's Little Jordan Humphrey.
Oh, yeah.
He's 6'6", 240.
Little?
If he can get
That's
it,
his name?
yeah, Little
Okay.
Jordan Humphrey. If he can if Drew Brees can just put him in the red zone, say just go to the end zone, and just jump up with your 7-foot wingspan, I can get the ball up in the air for you.
Little Jordan Humphrey.
And he probably has like a 0.1% chance of doing this, but maybe he'll get 10 touchdowns this year.
He might be free in some leagues.
He's
Hey.
free in probably 99.9%
Is
of
he free in
leagues.
our league?
Without a doubt, yeah. I looked earlier.
You should pick him up.
Hey,
I
check
don't
this
have any
out.
room.
Russell Gage had 75 targets last year. Sanu had 42 targets on Alabama. Do you think that...
Alabama?
What?
Did I say Alabama? On Atlanta. Do you think
brought
those
his
42
B- game
targets
today, ladies and gentlemen? His
get
B
added to Russell Gage's 75 targets, and all of a sudden he's 115, 117
Yeah,
targets?
That would be
That's how
second
it
on their
works.
team. I think it could work
Oh,
like
It
that.
might
God.
happen.
Russell Gage getting 115 targets.
Dude,
Is
I'm
that what we're
telling you,
projecting?
man.
That's what third
Russell
down punt's
Gage
putting out.
is a sleeper.
That's the garbage we're putting out.
and you're
Listen,
not. You're
Hooper's
not
gone.
Russell
hyping it up.
Gage
Russell Gage
is
is
going to
gonna
get
fill Hooper's
100
role.
115 targets.
Hayden Hurst cannot
Somebody
fill
bet me.
Hooper's shoes.
Mm-mm.
That-
That is Russell
$10.
Gage.
He gets more targets than Calvin Ridley.
What?
He gets more targets than Calvin Ridley. $10.
Russell Gage gets
Yeah.
my.
Okay,
We
nice.
shook hands for those of you listening. Wow. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm all in.
Russell Gage,
All
the
in on
future
Russell
wide
Gage.
receiver one
I'm not saying that.
of the Falcons. That's what it seems like. He's overtaking Julio
high wide
at
receiver, too.
115,
He's the
120
next Jarvis
targets.
Landry.
That's Laquan Treadwell area. He's taking over Julio. Do you
That's-
guys like
that's
Matt Ryan overall in comparison to
Yeah,
the
so
other
Matt
quarterbacks
Ryan
in the
has the
division?
San Francisco Giants thing going where every even year he's a top 5 quarterback.
Mhm.
What is 2020?
I would take. Yeah, I would
There
take
you
Matt
go.
Ryan.
Exactly. And every odd year he's not that good.
I would take Matt Ryan over every quarterback in this division.
So would I.
Me too.
Redraft
Over Teddy
or
Bridge?
dynasty.
Over Teddy Bridge?
Yep.
Teddy Bridge
Yeah.
going for 5,000 yards this year. with Curtis
Redraft or
Samuel.
dynasty. I'm taking Matt Ryan over every quarterback in this division.
Interesting.
Ooh,
Yeah.
over
I would do too,
Breeze
though.
in
That's,
redraft.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
bow down over Breeze and redraft.
Yeah.
I think
Breeze
I'd
is
take
noodle
Breeze.
arm.
I love Breeze.
He's
Breeze
getting
is
old,
noodle arm.
though.
Yeah, and you can
He's
see it every
41,
season.
dude. He's
after
he's aging like
Atlanta
a fine
has better
wine.
offense.
Every year after week 8 or 9, you can see Breeze's
He
noodle
falls
arm.
apart.
Yeah,
come out.
his
he puts his
thumb
best
hurts
Peyton
a little
Manning
bit more.
red forehead on and
Yeah,
starts.
and Drew Brees has
noodling
never hit
around
a super
there.
strong arm, so now it's becoming even more noodly, like a nice
Mhm.
angel hair pasta.
Dude, are we talking about noodle arms and not talking about Thomas Brady?
Oh God.
He's checked down Charlie, dude. Mike Evans is gonna
He's
become
checked down Charlie because he was throwing to Jacoby Myers. And
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
good.
Mike
and-
Evans
oh,
is running.
he's good.
Digs
The
all
undrafted
day.
rookie is so good.
Just
Mike
because you're
Evans is
undrafted
running
means you can't be good. Was
crossing
Arian
digs
Foster not
with-
good?
Yeah.
Got him.
How about the other 1,000 undrafted rookies?
Was Arian Foster not good?
Okay, that's what I thought.
mean, come on.
All right, we have rambled long
Is
enough.
Tony Romo not good?
Yeah, is Tony Romo not good?
Was an undrafted.
undrafted?
Yeah.
yeah.
Damn.
Same with
Tell me
Doug
he's not
Baldwin.
good.
Hey, Tony Romo is a
Yeah,
young
was
goat.
Doug
Yeah.
Baldwin not
yeah.
good?
Okay, you can't name 3 undrafted success stories and then say that
Was
undrafted
Kurt
Warner
players
not
have
good?
any sort of
Was Josh Gordon
Talents.
not good?
Josh Gordon is a
Supplemental
trash can.
draft.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
He's-
fucking trash.
Josh
can.
Gordon was
Oh,
undrafted
wow.
because of his off the field.
Yeah, he was undrafted
drugs.
because he got suspended from college after the NFL draft and couldn't enter the draft. So he went to the supplemental draft.
He was
Thanks,
a
Josh
second
Gordon
round.
expert.
He was a second round
In
supplemental
case
draft
anybody needs
picked
to know
up.
anything about the life of Josh Gordon, we've
I
got
didn't even
Drew
know
right
there
here.
was a second round in the supplemental draft. Was he?
Neither did
Don't
I.
fact check me, guys. Don't.
I thought he was a third round supplemental
No,
draft.
don't
pick,
fact check
actually.
Vaso. We told you he brought his B- game today for
Mhm.
everybody.
I do think he actually was a third round supplemental draft pick.
Third round supplemental. Vaso
Yeah.
just said second, and
No
Vaso said he's not
way
even
is there
sure
a
there's a
third
second
round.
round.
Yeah, because all you had, like the supplemental draft, all you got to do is just go through the order, and if a team wants to pick that round, they
Yes.
can pick.
I
But-
guess.
Oh, so
Yeah.
the team picked twice, and then they had a third.
They
round
only,
pick.
you only, I don't think you have to pick a first time.
But
like,
why would you not pick a first time if you had a player that you wanted?
It's a supplemental draft, dude.
So why would you just skip it and hope he's there later? Why not just take him? Why not just take him? What do you lose?
Because I think in a supplemental draft, if you take somebody, you lose a draft pick.
I thought you just
You
go
do?
back to the end of the waiver priority. No,
Oh, maybe I don't know.
I have no idea.
So what's
either.
free agency and what's the supplemental draft?
What is
Supplemental-
free?
What is for?
Nothing
what are you
makes
talking
sense
about?
anymore.
Vaso, you're off your rocker.
Wait,
You're
wait.
You're downgraded. C
Before
minus
before
day.
we leave, what is everybody's bold call for this division? Player wise, not team wise.
Okay. You want to go first? I feel
Curtis
like you have
Samuel's
one
having
ready.
1,200 total yards this year.
1,200.
He's a good
That
rusher.
is-
That includes
that is
rushing,
bold
like
call.
900
That's
receiving
very-
yards, 300
That's
rushing.
very, very bold.
Okay.
Tom Brady finishes with under 4,000 total yards.
Is that like saying he's going to get significant rushing yards? Or like less significant rushing yards than he normally does?
No, that's just less than 4,000 passing yards.
Okay, that's fair.
I've got 2. Emmanuel Sanders is a top 12 wide receiver this year.
Whoa, that was
Okay.
spicy.
The whole year?
Yeah, wide receiver
The whole
12.
year-
He finished as
alright.
wide receiver 12 or better this year.
Wow.
That is spicy.
Yeah.
Is he even gonna play a full season?
And
love
DJ Moore finishes top 5 wide receiver
Top
this year.
5? Oh my
Top
god.
5 wide receiver.
I can't on that. I
You
can't.
guys
Turn
wanted
us
him
off.
bold.
We have 3 of the top 5 wide receivers then in this,
That's bold. You wanted
or
him
4
bold.
of the top, or 5
Four
of the
or
top 5.
5. You have 5 of the top 5 wide receivers possible.
How do we have 5 of the top 5 wide receivers?
It's the Tampa duo:
Oh,
Julio, Michael Thomas, and now DJ Moore.
oh, that's true.
And then Curtis Samuel is 6 of the
I
top
told
6.
you this is my favorite fantasy, and Christian McCaffrey's top 5 wide receiver. There's like 30 top 5 wide receivers in this division.
Elvin Kamara's a top 5 wide receiver too.
Damn.
Sorry,
Hey,
Dare
I
Ogunbowale is
knew
going to be
this
one
was
this
my
year as
favorite
well.
division for a reason.
Laquan Treadwell, top 5 wide receiver as well.
Not with Russell Gage
Also
there,
in
my
this
guy.
division.
Laquan
God.
Treadwell.
Tom Brady top 3 QB.
Thank you guys for listening. If you made it this
It's
far,
Curtis Samuel show this year.
God bless
you know, yeah, God bless you, and good luck.